What is up again? We're gonna do another video for you guys. I think we kind of wanted to put something out there just to sort of explain our methodology of our investigations and why and how we go about it. And perhaps maybe some of the things that you hear us talk about might be a good idea and you can implement it into your tactics as well. So
Absolutely.
that's what we're gonna make a video about. We're just gonna chat it up.
You know, I think this field in general, there's no experts. We're obviously not experts. There's nobody out there that's an expert. But the thing that we can do is we can all gather experience by seeing what works and what doesn't work. We've done that a lot ourselves. We unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we don't take too much credit into what a whole lot of other people are doing, but we do watch them and say, you know what, maybe that's worth a try. So that previous statement I said is more of like a, okay, well, you know, maybe that will work, maybe it won't work. So
How do we implement it?
Yeah.
How do we put a gateway spin on it and make it work for us?
exactly.
Which is exactly what we're trying to do for you. So pointers wise and some tips and tactics that we use, and maybe you can put a spin on it and you can implement it and get better evidence or you just might go more streamlined for you. So
So tip one,
who knows?
sweep the house.
Agreed.
What do I mean by that, Wyatt?
So when we show up to a location, naturally we're going to bring all our equipment in. That's pretty much the first thing we're going to do. But we sweep the house. Or building. We're going to walk the location, and we're going to kind of open our senses up a little bit and just walk through, get an idea of what might be a hot spot, what kind of activity we think may be going on. And I mean, we might even carry a spirit box with us, a mail, something, you know, anything just to give us a little bit of data. But we're absolutely off the rip going to walk the building and get a sense of it, and that helps you plan for any experiments or isolations or anything that you want to do there. That's going to give you a little bit more of insider information, I guess. Go in there and do your research off the top and see how you feel.
And usually that helps with, most buildings have like a certain, you know, couple areas that are more active than others.
Mm-hmm.
And we're able to, and I know there's a lot of you that are able to, you know, pick up on those spots. You walk in, you say, oh wow, this is real right here. Like, you can feel it. So you get those, you know, in the back of your mind. You can write it down if you want to. Then you go back to it. You don't stay there just yet. You want to continue to go through that building and figure out where these hot spots are at, or, you know, where you might get any feelings. And then you go to, you know, the next step.
And a little bit of a side note of tip one, the other benefit to sweeping the property, if I would say that 99% of the people in this field, you and your group or whomever, you guys are filming what you're doing. So not only are we sweeping the building to see what kind of paranormal hotspots there are, where we might get activity, we're also sweeping the building to think about shots. We're thinking about how we want to set up, what's the site going to be, are we going to do this type of experiment, how are we going to film it in that area. So it's a twofold tip. It's going to help you with your paranormal stuff, and it's also going to help you with your filming.
Exactly. So tip two, know your equipment.
Yes. What do you mean by that, Matt?
So when you're going through, and you might be, you know, we might have the K2s out of the millimeters or whatever. We're going through, and we might get spikes, but every time we do that, we start sweeping that room, not for paranormal activity.
But quite the opposite.
Yeah,
You're gonna
we're
try
trying
to
to debunk it
yeah.
quick. And it's just like we did the jail out there in Cynthiana, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting constant K2 spikes, but me personally, I started not taking any credit into that because there were so many things, you know, physically and atmospherically that would affect those devices to make them go off. So if you're getting a constant reading on your K2, maybe maybe some advice I can give to you is find a baseline. So like what I did was said, all right, I'm getting a constant 3 reading in here on the metal. So me knowing that, when I watched it, you know, fluctuate between 2 and 3, no credit. Even 3 and 5 or 3 and 10 even, I was still not giving much credit. But there was a couple times that I had some 30s and 40s on that male spike.
Which is way more than a baseline. And even, I mean, I was a little shocked at that too, because 3 is kind of a high baseline, but it was a baseline, it was constant. So know your equipment, know what it does, know what it picks up.
Spirit boxes are a good example too.
Spirit boxes, I mean, K2s, you have to know that they're gonna pick up static. They do pick up static as well as the electromagnetic field. So know that and understand that there are things that are gonna make it go off. Know how to operate your spirit box. Know what the best sweep rate is.
So it gets confusing sometimes though, I will say that. So I like to go very fast with my sweeps. And some of the other guys might, back it off a little bit, and I do too, but that's all depending on, so if I'm doing a, 100 or 150 on the sweep rate, which is very, sweeping through there fast, you start getting responses, but if you start noticing maybe these spirits are having a tough time with that, then you say, okay, I'm gonna back this down to 200 or 250, and that's all depending on your investigation. That's not something that's you have to do it or it's a necessity, but it's one of those things that every piece of equipment you use, you have to really be paying attention to how the spirits are responding with it, because sometimes you're gonna get different results.
Every piece of equipment that we use, I'm speaking for us, but everybody else uses a lot of the same stuff. Every piece of equipment that we use has its possibility to a false reading. That's really what we mean by know your equipment. We've already talked about K2s and males. We talked about spirit box. Let's talk about SLS camera. Please know that the SLS camera is a really cool piece of equipment to use. And yes, there have been times where I 100% feel we have in fact documented something with this SLS.
Sure.
But there were a lot of times that it wasn't. And when the piece of equipment is new to you, you get really excited about stuff. And I guess some of the tips, like for the SLS, know this. Know that curtains, chairs, anything that looks like a standing or a sitting position, you're likely gonna get some kind of a figure.
Yeah.
So just know, really, baseline is a good word for all the equipment. Know what the baseline is. You're gonna have some false readings.
Another one, DVR cameras. We learned the hard way pretty recently that we thought we caught the Holy Grail. So we're gonna insert that clip now, let you guys see it. So what happened, we had a DVR camera set in the back of the hallway, and it was facing all the way to the end. We see, what we noticed first was like a little pin-sized light just go across the hallway, and then we rewinded it, and we saw a full figure that you could see through, like it looked like you could see through it.
Yeah. Walks into the hallway, turns around, and walks back, and it looked like it had some kind of crazy object. It kind of looked like it morphed, but the most important thing that made us all freak out was it seemed to be transparent.
Yeah, and we all discussed this. We didn't want to release it. We wanted to study this thing, although we were all pretty certain what we caught.
And by the way, big credit to Wes on that.
Yeah,
because due diligence is everything, and still trying to keep that level-headed. Do I debunk it? Is it the real deal? Unfortunately, it was debunked, and
because
it was heartbreaking.
He saw the same exact thing on another clip, and on this time, walks out and then comes towards the camera, and then you could see the full shape, and it was Todd Eskew. So thanks a lot, Todd.
No, kidding. Not Todd's fault at all, but something that happens is we're reviewing that footage, and we're like, oh, everybody's accounted for. We know where Fioli is. We know where Casey is. I happen to be in the room next to where this figure came out, but they knew it wasn't me because I had a headlamp on and it was right in the room. But Todd had like a UV light, And that's what, when he came out and we saw this little pin light, that's what it was. The DVR camera picked it up differently, and because it was seeing a different light source, it made it appear as if he was transparent. But it was not the case. It was a living person. It was somebody that was there with us.
So y'all just pay attention to that. We've seen it a couple times, and you know, we're not going to be calling people out on it. That's not what we're doing. Just watch it. And try to debunk it. Even if you think you caught the holy grail of paranormal, double check everything, triple check it.
And I think one of the things that still kind of had all of us a little bit on the fence was just knowing that there were some of us down there.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. Know what's going on. I mean, with a DVR setup, that's kind of easier to do because you can check some of your other cameras and see what people are. But
well, also our thing was none of us are transparent.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
We learned then that the DVR, the hour lights, I guess at that distance with another light source, I don't know, it just does something weird, and we were all shocked. I mean, I sat down in the office and rewatched both of those clips over and over and over and over and over again, trying to explain it, but
we were fired up about it.
It was, well, I got the other clip of Todd walking out of the hallway, man.
And it was like immediate. All of us were like, yeah, that's what it was. And another thing about DVR cameras, dust. Orbs show up all the time with DVR cameras, especially in old buildings.
It's the IR lighting.
It's the IR lighting, and you're gonna get dust for days. Don't get too caught up in it. Unless you see something crazy. Like, I don't know if you recall back in the day, we had that
the anchor looking one.
The anchor one, that was bizarre, yeah. But it wasn't just a little ball. But yeah, that also, it's all know your equipment.
But you also notice Gateway Paranormal doesn't post it.
Nope.
We've caught some stuff that we love as far as light anomalies go. I don't post them because even though they're cool to us and we understand, like, okay, this is way different than anything we've ever seen before, we also understand that's not going to prove anything. So that's us personally. We don't post them.
What do you think? They've seen maybe 15% of the evidence that we've captured?
Yeah.
Well, we would say evidence, but some of the stuff we just don't want to show.
Yeah. And we catch lots of EVPs too that are, you know, we can hear them, we can understand them, but when I put them through the computer,
it doesn't sound the same.
It doesn't sound the same, or you know, there's some kind of issue to where you can hear it, but you really have to listen, and I don't want to post that stuff.
And a very valid point to that, and because I'll notice it too, like watching Ghost Adventures with my wife, for example. Well, he'll say, it says ...
Yeah.
And I won't hear that at all, and my wife won't hear that at all. But it also goes to that, you know, the whole Laurel Yanny video?
Yeah.
You hear it's the same clip no matter what, but I hear Laurel, and she hears Yanny. And it's just a matter of perception of how you hear it. So a lot of the stuff with EVPs, it's hard for us to share that with you unless you're standing in the room.
Right.
Because there's a little bit of loss in translation when it's uploaded.
Now the EVPs that I do share are when we catch disembodied voices.
Yeah, that's easy.
Because I mean, you can see all of our reactions like, what was that? Because
it doesn't matter if you can tell what it says, you hear the vocal tone. And the big thing for me is, for the most of the time, we've always been a group of guys.
Yeah.
When you get that female disembodied voice,
I swear every disembodied voice we've caught
has been female. I agree. I do.
And to me, that's my favorite piece of evidence to get. But we're getting off topic.
We are. Know your equipment.
So tip 3.
Tip 3. Do not let your frustration get in the way of your investigation. What I mean by that, we go to a lot of locations, and sometimes you gas yourself up, or you hype up you hype it up in your mind of what you're going to experience at these locations, and then it just doesn't go down that way. Don't let that ruin the rest of your investigation. Continue going about your plan. Continue to investigate. Continue to reach out for that evidence. This is paranormal investigating. It's not paranormal filming. Go out there, do your experiments, use your equipment. Keep trying, because you may go for hours and hours and hours, and you might get one thing.
Yeah.
But that one thing was what you were looking for the whole time. So,
prime example, Octagon Hall for us.
Yeah.
But, you know, so we went to Octagon Hall a year and a half ago or something like that, and I can't say nothing happened. We got one incredible EVP and we got one incredible SLS figure, and then that was it. But
the EVP we didn't even know about until we reviewed it.
yeah, and so we were like, man, that really sucks because there's all these accounts of this place being incredibly active. So there for a little bit, we were on the, yeah, I'm not too worried about Octagon Hall, but then one piece of advice I'll also give you is pay attention to what these other teams and stuff are saying. If there's all these accounts of this activity at this location and we're the only ones not getting evidence, maybe we need to go back and give it a try. And we did. We got more evidence. I mean, it was still a little slower, but we still got more evidence. So I think that was a key thing of do not get frustrated with this is,
Right.
you know, pay attention to what other people are saying.
I think you're touching on, and I had a secondary bullet point to the don't let the frustration get in the way. Trust your teammates. Trust your teammates' feelings. Even to an extent, trust other people's experiences that they've had there, and they tell you about it. You know, like you said, we were so quick to write off Octagon. Well, we went back recently, and we had some stuff happen, and we were like, huh,
Yeah.
well, I'll be. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it was the prime example of that frustration getting in the way and us just closing the door on it, you know? And if you run into those situations, if you have a team of 4, 5, 6 people, whatever, if you got 1 or 2 people that are saying they feel some type of way or there's something going on, trust them.
They're your teammate.
Right. Trust them, hear them out, find out what's going on. It may lead you into some of the most profound shit you have ever recorded. It has happened for us.
Exactly, and that's a great point. If you can't trust your teammates, that's a big issue because you have to be like, if he goes into a room that I was just in, I said, hey man, I didn't really feel anything, and then he goes in and he says, bro, it's crazy in there. Like I just got pushed or something. I'm gonna be like, okay, bro, let's go.
I'm coming with you. Yeah.
So just because you didn't feel it or somebody else didn't feel it at that time, you still need to listen because, like you said earlier, that's been some of our craziest stuff is just listening to our teammates and going in and checking it out.
Sometimes, spirits at locations or activity it'll just pick one person to target, and it may not be the person you would typically expect to be targeted. So trust what you hear. If you have teammates or even just people with you at the location that start experiencing something, hear them out.
Yeah.
Hear them out. Go a little further in depth researching it, find out what's going on. You may have some gold on your hands. So don't let the frustration hinder you. Trust yourself. Trust your team. Know your equipment and sweep the property.
So that's all for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Click that like, share, and subscribe button if you like what we're doing. And we'll see you next time.
And if you don't like what we're doing,